Everybody rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Westergaard,
Yes.
Steinkamp,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yep.
Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, public forum. Eric?
Yeah, I wanted to address the council on some recent changes to the planning and zoning that have dramatically affected how houses are gonna be able to be improved upon in a vast area of the area of Lakeview. Mostly this is gonna consider the lakefront homes, which were all built, you know, prior to any zoning ordinance. And let's say 6 months ago, or a little over 6 months ago, the planning and zoning board added one sentence to the code that said any additions to non-conforming structures must meet requirements of the existing zoning code. So what this basically did was put a stop to most expansions and or remodeling of any lakeshore front homes, 75% or more, and then the older neighborhoods of Lakeview. Because even though the houses may already meet the setback, if they want to add on to a corner that still meets the setback, they aren't allowed to do it because it doesn't meet the current standards because they're adding on to a non-conforming structure. So then when these are turned down, they go before the Board of Adjustment. And the Board of Adjustment can look at some of these and look past the zoning regulations, and for a cause of a hardship, a legitimate hardship, they can overrule that zoning code and permit them to build according to what they want to do, which has happened quite a few times since this one sentence was added to that code. The most recent one was at this last meeting of the Board of Adjustment on Monday, October 30th, whereas the person who wanted to add on was basically exactly what the picture is on there for. They wanted to add on to the corners of their house. And the only part that was non-conforming was the street side, which is on Lake Street. Both the north and south side of the house did not go any further. It was still within the 4-foot regulation. Neither neighbor complained about the fact that they wanted to do this. So, in my opinion, the Board of Adjustment don't really know their role in saying yes or no on some of these that come before them. They're supposed to look at the hardship issue seriously, and this person had a hardship issue that's dealt with a medical condition that's getting worse, so they wanted to expand just 2 little corners of their house so a bathroom and a kitchen can be used for the person who's becoming more and more disabled. And it was, unfortunately, there's only 4 members on the Board of Adjustment right now because there's 1 member short. So it was a 2-to-2 vote, which basically denied the permit. And it just made no sense to me that that this was denied. So I guess what I'm saying is that this one sentence that the Planning and Zoning Board added to this has thrown a monkey wrench into expansion and growth of Lakeview, which I know you guys are all proud that want to expand and grow Lakeview. Well, this is going to put a very big crimp in expanding any homes, the older homes that maybe some younger people have bought and want to expand because of their growing family. If there's a person with a physical disability, they're turning these down, you know, and it just makes no sense. And it's going to happen a lot because this was just implemented 6 months ago. And another one of these was turned down, and he redid his whole plan so they were met the guidelines. So they can do this, but some people have no space to do it. You know, and these people didn't have any space to not change the plan. There's no way they can do it. So I just wanted the city council to be aware that that one sentence, that the planning and zoning is stuck in there, and the inability of, in my opinion, the Board of Adjustment to understand their role, that if a person has a legitimate hardship and they want to change that, give them the okay signal, that they should do that, without any preconceived ideas of what, they don't want them to have that right to do that. It's just unfortunate this last person was turned down for this because it makes absolutely no sense. And this is gonna happen a lot, we're gonna get a bad name, for people that want to expand or grow their homes, even though they're older homes. And they're in mostly, like say, Lake Shore developments, the older Lake Shore developments, and the older neighborhoods in Lakeview where they already are building on, or maybe even beyond their legal boundary because there was no ordinances back when they were built. So I just wanted the city council to understand that this is gonna create a lot of issues with the people trying to rebuild in the future. So I think that should be revisited, that the council approve this one sentence, which will change it back to the fact that they would have more chances of being able to build what they want to do. And I don't okay ones that are just ridiculously, way beyond the boundary. These are not beyond the boundary, except for the one street side, which is not going to affect anybody. So I just wanted to have the council be aware that they need to seriously look at this to understand that this has put a roadblock in expansion and stuff of older homes in Lakeview.
Thank you, Eric. I think we should put this on the agenda and meeting and talk about it. Okay, anybody else, public forum?
John, I have something about the hotel, or about the, it's from the hotel, about the community center. Do you want that now or later?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm just reading this on behalf of Jody Grody. She wrote this, but she couldn't be here tonight. I'm writing this on behalf of Cobblestone Inn and Suites. I could not be more thrilled to see the city growth that Lakeview has done and completed over the years. With that, we now have the opportunity to incorporate a community center into that growth. I think it will be a great asset not only to us at the hotel, but to the community in general. Just think of the people we get to our great community in the spring, summer, fall, and winter that help support our local businesses when they come to our community. Not only will the community center be great for our community, but it will also help support our local businesses in town all year round. I'm always promoting people when they come to stay at our hotel to go uptown and check out our businesses. There are so many great shops, stores, and restaurants in our town. Let's face it, in our small towns, if we don't have things for people to do, then people start looking to the cities to go and do things. And even though we are not a city, I feel Lakeview has things for everyone that visits in our community. I truly feel like the community center is going to be a great asset to the city of Lakeview. Just like anything, when it is new, people are pretty judgmental about how it will all work. Take, for instance, the hotel itself. Think back to 15 years ago when the hotel was a thought, and some people may not have been in favor of it, or why do we need a hotel in our community? And look at the hotel. We have been open since May of 2010. We've had people from 49 of the 50 states visit us, and that does not include all of the international guests that we have had. I feel that we are such a great amenity to the city of Lakeview, just like I feel the community center will be. I feel like the community center would bring people to town all year round for just about anything. I feel like we would be able to offer options for those local companies that like to have a conference, community center to hold meetings, or local weddings in town, or just any event in general. I get that change is sometimes hard for all of us, and also hard when it requires a community as a whole to back it up. Just remember, sometimes you have to take a chance on things to see what will promote growth for your community, as I feel the community center of Lakeview would do. Thank you. Jody Grody, General Manager, Cobblestone Inn and Suites, Lakeview, Iowa.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda. Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Roll call.
Who wants to be first? The three of you spoke. Okay, we'll make, Beckman,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Mueller,
Can you
Okay,
hear okay, Tammy?
Yeah, I have a little trouble towards the end with Eric, but otherwise it seems like I'm hearing okay.
All right. We'll all try and speak up a little bit.
Okay.
okay, first building permit is Chris Wall. That's what Eric was talking about. These people actually have a hardship that we need to address.
Actually, I think this one is just their building
Oh,
permit
building permit.
of the one that's to the, on the lake shore side, I believe, isn't it, Eric?
Yes.
This doesn't
Yeah,
have that
this is the
problem.
one, there's
Okay.
no issues with this one, they're meeting all of the requirements for this one.
They moved their room back in, correct?
Yes.
They moved the porch back, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Beckman,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Okay, First State Bank, putting up a sign,
Make a motion to approve. Second.
roll call.
Beckman,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yep.
Frank,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with the administrator report.
I know Jason will have his report. I'm basically, on October 24th, there was an accident that damaged the stone light at the corner of 3rd Street and Crescent Park Drive. I hadn't heard from the insurance company, for the driver of that vehicle, so I contacted them today. And I sent them the accident report and the pictures that I had. And then the staff cleaned up some of the broken glass this afternoon that was down there that hadn't been cleaned up. We've also contacted a few masons, to see what it's gonna take to repair the stone and get it back into working order. Unfortunately, it probably won't happen until spring just because of the weather and different things. I've been working on finalizing the state reports that are due December 1st, which would include the annual financial report, the urban renewal report, and the street report. They'll be available, at the November 20th meeting. Also, I'm working on getting the annual exam scheduled, with, the audit people with Feldman's out of Carroll, trying to get that, going and moving. And I've also, spent extensive amount of time with, the committee, on the community center in Bob Veenstra, trying to get the plan set for the community center so we can get that out to bid here in the next week or so.
Yep. Okay, Jason?
Alright, so on the electrical side, the guys have replaced some elbows close to the Mexican restaurant. They weren't looking the greatest. Like always, we've done a lot of locates. They assisted with trying to, on the top of our salt tank at the water plant, the lid is not in great repair, so the electric boys came over with their truck and helped us. We got it so it's gonna work and we'll be good. Changed out some sexualizers, some transformers. They vacuumed in our ditch witch, a couple service lines to a couple houses. They rehooked a meter back up to a house that was being sited, filled in some holes, looked at the grave on West Street, raised the grave on West Street, changed out some wire reels, assisted with removing the docks at the lake with the Parks Department, changed out a street light, meter readings. We met with a resident that had some questions over our electrical being ran, and then we went out there the next day and they actually the line was bored in, and then the guys did the risers and everything, and they're taken care of and everything's good to go on that, so they all have power. Did some changeovers from my understanding it's called a RONC, and it's an old style system on the lines. They changed that over. It's not something that they currently use anymore, so they changed that over. They did substation reading, looked at a resident's primary, met with another resident who's adding on to his cattle portion, cleaned and fixed some of our equipment, installed a surge protector at one of the lift stations that was blown. Yesterday we had a power outage, discovered which transformer was not working and replaced it out, and then we also had to replace a fuse at the fuse location down by Crescent Park. It was a good learning tool for two of our guys that don't have as much experience as Trent does. So it's a sad thing that it had to happen, but that's the way we learn. So it was a good thing for us there. And then they cleaned up the glass from the broken light down at the campground. On the public works side, we fixed a curb stop out in Dixieland. We found a couple curb stops. We did have a water service line leak on West Street and 8th Street. Sweeper was out and working. The skid loader, as I reported last time, went down. The auxiliary unit won't work on it. Carol had us take it over there. They said it'd be a quick fix and they'd have it in for us. Well, we still don't have our skid loader. After multiple phone calls and complaining, we have a free skid loader to borrow until ours is fixed. And they delivered it to us. We did not have to go get it, but we got an equivalent one until ours gets repaired. So we do have a skid loader again. Worked with Chad's Plumbing on the connections of the new water main, put resonance and no boil water advisory for the new line. Both bacteria samples came back absent. The plumbing services up on Lakeshore project were completed on 10/24, and the concrete was sealed today, and all the concrete is ran up there. They're just doing small minor touches, touch-ups on some things, but we should have a road back open by Friday, hopefully, is what they said. Shut off some curb stops for residents winterizing their homes, assisted with a service line on Sunset Drive that was leaking and filling the neighbor's basement. That was quite a thing to see, but we got her shut off, and the local plumber is going to replace that line since it's their responsibility. Discovered 2 curb stop valves that residents are not working, devised a plan in order to fix it. We got them fixed out. We changed those out last Thursday and last Friday. We took care of both those. Talked to show our SEE about the repair of the hydrant, the Lake Street manhole, and the punch list for the wastewater plant. He's going to start on the manhole and the fire hydrant when the casting for the Lake Street's done. That way he only has to mobilize once and he can do it all and send his crew down here for that amount of time and not back and forth. The casting was sent. It should be done sometime this week, so hopefully within the next week or two, SEE is here working on the punch list and fixing that manhole and that fire hydrant. Storm drain on 6th and West Street has been completed. It was done on November 3rd. Looks pretty good. We're still working with the contractor to get the repairs on Lake Street and Lakeshore. After numerous tries, we finally got it figured out, and hopefully those are going to be started repaired Wednesday and Friday of this week. Talked to 10 Point, which is the general contractor up there, about saw cuts and the grading and everything else. They're going to do the dormant seed, which was in the plans, so they'll place the seed, and then come spring it should take off with the type of seed that they use. Not a landscape guy, so I got to go off of what they're telling me. We started our set feed system at the wastewater plant. It was a little confusing to some of us because what's in our plan book is not the exact same style as what we have. So talking to Nexum, they sent us actually what we have so we could actually do it, and we're doing it correctly now. We ordered some ERTs from the company. That's what does our remote read on our water meters. So we got those, we were out of those. Then we discovered that we're out of water meter bases. I contacted the salesman who we have previously purchased all of our meters through. He was supposed to place an order the first part of October. He did not. Got a hold of his partner in the business, and the meters are on back order until the middle to end of January. So, talking to the gentleman that we buy our ERTs from, he is working on finding us a meter that will work for what we need and work with our ERTs all at the same time. If everything goes, we're going to order 6 of them. That way we have 6 meters to replace if we need to. And if it works out, it's not going to change. We don't have to change everybody's meters and their houses or anything. It's just from there on we would be using a different brand of meter than what we currently use because we can't get them. Went through the house on Broughton Street with Region 12 and Miss Teresa. installed a new feature at the splash pad, working with Patrick. I believe that's his name, right, Miss Baker?
I'm not sure.
The new feature is installed and good to go. Took down the pickleball nets. The new street sweeper arrived last Thursday. It was obviously up today, running all day long from 8 to about 4:15 this afternoon. He'll be out in it again tomorrow until we get the whole town done again. We had the faucet in the men's restroom here at City Hall replaced. We fixed the ropes on the flagpole. They were so twisted that we could not raise the flags back up the way we were supposed to after being at half staff. So the guys came up with the telehandler and we fixed all the ropes so they're not as twisted and we can actually do what we need to. As I mentioned, we had the power outage that also cut power to our water tower. We did not run out of water. We went a little bit lower in the water tower than what we'd probably like, but everybody still had water and the guys worked really hard. Got a list to the comm center today of who to call when there is a problem and not necessarily call the mayor or, excuse me, one of you guys. They now have Teresa's phone number, my phone number, and Trent's phone number in case they could not reach anybody on the on-call phones, which they never tried to call on our on-call phones. They just called Mr. Mayor directly and didn't follow the chain of command, I guess, on that one so we could make things go quicker. We hung the flags on the fire hydrants on the North Loop and the Evaco project today. We designed and ordered new signs for the brush pile. The brush pile is a sore subject. It wouldn't be so sore of a subject if people would put the leaves where the leaves go and the brush where the brush go, but they put them all in the same spot. Well, I spent about 3 hours out there yesterday moving leaves from the brush pile to the leaf pile, and then we have other items that are not allowed to be in there, such as doors, flower pots, plastic flowers, wood. So we try to pull all that stuff out if we see it. We're not perfect by any means, but we make every effort that we can. We did some interviews for the parks foreman, and lastly, we put the white stuff removal devices on all of our trucks. We're not going to use the S word. We're trying not to. We don't want to. So all the trucks are ready to go. That S word should happen.
Salads?
And that's what the guys have been doing.
Thanks, Jason. Chris?
Yeah, so we've had 417 calls for service over the past couple weeks, last month. 69 cases, 211 community policing projects. So we're doing pretty good there. If you look over on the right side of that paperwork, you see over the past year we've had 3,267 calls for service. That's over 1,000 more than we had the previous year at 1,960. So there's a lot of work that's being done out there right now. Over the past year, we've made 178 charges have been filed. The previous year, there was only 55. So that's a big jump from year to year. So hopefully it'll start slowing down. We start getting things under control a little bit here, and things will slow down. We'll get it figured out. But other than that, that's about all I got.
And we got the new car.
We did, yeah. We got a used one from down in Missouri. It's in really good shape, so Upfitter will be coming to get it tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get it on the road soon.
Thanks all three of you, appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on. We're gonna open the public hearing on the sale of property owned by the city on the south 106 feet of lot 13, block 7. For everybody here, that's the little dirt east side of the laundromat. Is there any public input?
I have not received anything either oral or written, for or against it in my office.
We close the public hearing. Consideration of resolution 2350 is the sale of that property.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Waltman,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
That's a step forward. Okay, we're gonna go to, resolution 2351 about the credit card policy.
So this is something that I drafted, credit card policy, basically, the loan credit card that the city has is in my name. I mean, it's in the city's name, but it's my name and everything that's attached to it. Previous communities and counties that I've worked in, you know, department heads have had access, you know, to their credit card, and it would be in their name, and then they're responsible for the charges that they put on it, making sure that, you know, providing the proper documentation that we require for the credit card policy. But I guess what I'm asking the council is allowing me to add, you know, the department heads to have a credit card so that when they go on business trips, you know, and different things, they aren't necessarily taking the card that is attached to me, with them, you know, on the business trips. And if we have, you know, things that need to be ordered through, you know, the internet and various, you know, things that we order that aren't, you know, we don't source right here locally, that they have that ability to do so with a card that's not got my name attached to it. You're not saying that that's an issue, but it would be nice to be able to document on, because when the credit card bill comes in, it would, you know, have my name listed under my card, and then any charges that I put on it, if Jason went, you know, used it, and any charges that would be on it would be under Jason. So then you can track all of the receipts and everything to that particular card, and allow us to kind of track where things need to go just a little bit better. So that's just kind of a step in some of the processes that I've seen that I'd like to have this added.
Is there any repercussions when we have audits?
No.
That's,
Actually, it would probably be better, because then it would be associated to each individual name instead of it being associated to me and me alone.
Anyone else?
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2351.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Waltman,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Okay, consideration of resolution 2352. Resolution ordering construction of certain public improvements, approving preliminary plans, and fixing a date of hearing thereof, and taking bids therefore.
So you guys have the document in front of you, for the resolution ordering construction of the, for us to be able to bid let. Today Bob emailed me, I have the preliminary plans as laid out, that were provided to you. Tammy does not have a copy, and then the specifications, there was 293 pages. I wasn't gonna print a copy for every council member because they aren't final. But it at least is to the point where we can, put it out, use for putting it out to bid. So, I guess if anybody has any questions concerning it, I'll do the best that I can to answer at this point, or, you know. Basically, the timeline, and I think would I also include Bob's letter, would be us setting it out to bid, and then hopefully that we would then be opening up bids and considering contracts. I think it was on December 18th. I think actually the bid opening is on December 13th, and then consideration will be at the council meeting on December 18th. It's kind of the timeline.
We have a motion to approve 2352.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Stankham,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Beckman,
No.
Frank,
No.
Muller,
Yes.
Now, when we do this, and we're going out to bid and stuff, we're gonna have some financials from Hometown Pride.
Foundation.
So we know we have the foundation, knowing that we have the money when the bids come in to do that.
Yep,
Just,
that would be my plan. To make sure that we got all of our ducks in a row, that it's financially gonna work.
And all the money comes through the city. Okay. Okay, we want to discuss and reconsider the concrete patches on Lake Street, Lakewood.
We can take that off there,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor. He has contacted us.
Yeah.
That's
been
when we
taken
have a
care
plan.
of.
Oh.
Hopefully by the end of the week.
Okay, we need a consideration of pay applicant for 10 point, number 1.
And actually, we can take that out, because we talked with Mr. Crawford on Friday afternoon, after we started digging into the pay application a little bit, after it was already put into the packet. We had some concerns about the pay application, so we're working through that right now, and it'll be put back on the agenda on November 20th.
Well, they did a nice job.
They did do a very nice job. We just had a few questions on the pay app that Jason and I didn't like.
Dollars and cents didn't make sense.
Yep.
No. No, that's you guys. Okay, we have a consider a letter of understanding between the union and the city.
So this one, Chris and I and the mayor met with a representative from the AXME, if I say that right, concerning the detective position. And basically, I mean, our discussion, with him was, unfortunately, the pay is what the pay is until we go back into renegotiations, at some point. And that would be, the pay is basically 2.5% below what the assistant chief makes. So we basically agreed to a letter, of understanding with council approval, that basically the wage would stay 2.5% below the assistant chief's wage until 2025, after 2025 when renegotiation would happen. And it could fluctuate a little bit because the assistant chief's wage is an administrative wage, so that would be, pursuant to possible changes, but that's why we worded it at 2.5% less than the assistant chief. So there would be a consideration of an increase over the next 3 years.
So we have to increase the detective pay to the 2.5% under the assistant chief position?
It's already there.
That's where it's at.
That's what it was agreed to, that's what he was changed to when George was made detective. So that wage would stay, until at least July of next year, and then consideration of what the assistant chief's wage, it would stay at 2.5% below.
So what is this number 3 bullet point of that one being
No, that
retroactive?
needs to be taken out, I thought I had taken it out from,
Okay.
that was a copy and paste issue, sorry.
Okay.
I'll fix it.
So that's a none?
No, that's a mute.
Okay.
So we need a motion to approve that letter.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second?
roll call.
Because there's no more, just excuse me, a little bit of step, there's no more bargaining, we don't have to go back with the union after we approve this, correct?
No,
No, this is from what we did before.
Right.
We just got
We're just-
approved from the
Okay.
union.
yeah, they
We're
had
not-
requested it, and so we just met with him, and this is what we, in a sense, agreed to. And I said I would take it to council, and he didn't have, I sent the letter to him, he didn't have any issues with it, so.
Okay, so we're not going back into the collective bargaining?
No,
until-
no,
Not
no, no.
Next July? July, well, probably
Well-
next year, but for the following year.
Right.
Yeah, that's because we had a 3-year deal, if I remember right.
Right.
Yeah, right, sorry, Kay.
It's okay, thank you.
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Boltman,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Okay, we want to consider the purchase of the Dodge Charger from Edwards. Any information different than what we have?
And that's on hand?
Do you wanna go over it? I'm gonna try and get the next person that's in line, cause we're rushing.
Yeah, it's just the new vehicle, rather than getting a used one down in Missouri, we get a new one, kinda like.
but this is one they already have on hand, that's
they have it
already
on
ready to
hand.
go.
Yeah, we just go pick it up.
And you cancel the one that you
Yeah.
have on order.
What is your reasoning for having 3 vehicles?
The biggest reason is when we're in a situation like we are now, we only have one operational vehicle. If that goes down, we don't have any, right? So we need to be able to maintain at least more than 2 vehicles in case one goes down. Somebody goes to training, something else happens, I mean, you just, that's the big reason we wanna have 3 functioning vehicles.
But you're outfitting 3, I mean, there's gonna be extra expenses, the insurance, the outfitting of radios and computers and.
Yeah, we'll be under budget no matter what.
You're taking stuff from the vehicle
We're
that
taking,
we
yeah,
wrecked.
we're taking everything we can out of the other vehicle, obviously, we're gonna reuse it. So we're not spending any more than what we were budgeted to spend.
But we was, come next year when this new vehicle came in, we was gonna be trading one in.
No. We haven't traded one in yet, I don't think.
No.
Okay.
They stay right here, so.
The only thing that I think as a citywide whole, your departments, both departments and your department, when this, now that the strike's back over and the production gets back to hopefully sometime normal, when we get the government, you wanna say government bids, is that right?
Yeah.
You know, the city of Lakeview we should really look at rotating our vehicles a lot sooner than longer. Because we can take that used vehicle like in Jason's department, if they have a pickup that's 2 years old, we can probably sell that for pretty close to what a new one costs and keep rotating everything. And I think that's something we should look at in the future when stuff gets back.
Teresa and I have discussed that, coming up with a vehicle rotation plan. That way we have equipment that's working and we're not keeping things until they're dead and
Correct.
spending more on repairs. We're just kind of waiting, hopefully, till this winter where we can sit down and actually start working on this and figure out where we need to start.
Yeah, and I know it's gonna be difficult right now with, because some of these companies aren't offering government discounts right now because of the limited production, but I'd like to see us look at that, and then I'd like to see us incorporate that into the police as well, so we're not running these vehicles to death, if that makes sense.
Right, and I think the new what was it, 350 that 450 that we ordered, sorry, was actually part of, the state bid. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we
I did
found
use the
where
state
it was
bid on that.
available.
Yeah,
We're just
So-
waiting for the strike to be over, so hopefully they build it.
yeah, I think it is over.
I believe it is, so we're
Yep,
still just waiting,
But they'll be a lot higher next time.
more
So
likely.
purchasing this new one now, we're doing this, actually getting it sooner than when the Durango was supposed to be here, correct?
We're getting it now instead of,
And
in the spring.
Well,
It was
that's
still
the
in this
spring.
fiscal year, though. It was supposed to happen.
plus it's less money than the Durango, isn't it?
it's about the same. It's almost identical.
Yeah,
Um,
the base price was probably,
Is-
what, $1,000 to $1,500 less?
Yeah.
Is this the type of vehicle that the department would rather have over the Durango?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, we'll keep looking at vehicles like for the next rotation and stuff like that, because we don't wanna have all the same vehicle, obviously. But yeah, I think it'll really do what we want it to do.
Because we have a pickup yet also, correct?
We got a pickup right now, and then obviously the one we just picked up. Which, by the way, still haven't got a couple of years warranty on it yet too. So
Yeah.
that's kinda nice.
We happened to find out it had a 100,000 mile warranty on it, so that was nice.
Perfect. Powertrain or complete?
I think it's complete, the way I was reading it.
It looks
I
like
believe
it's
so.
complete.
We'll get lucky this time.
Mhm.
Don't happen all the time.
We need some of that.
I'll make a motion, we purchase the 2023 Dodge Charger. Edwards.
Second,
I'll second that.
roll call.
Waltman,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes?
Frank,
Yes.
Stankham,
Yes.
Muller,
Yes,
Okay, Carla's gonna call us about 203 Button.
Yep, I told her 6:15, so you guys went a lot faster than I had planned.
So can we discuss a little bit before that?
Yep, we certainly can. I did have, Region 12 has a rehab program, that I learned about after I first started here. We didn't have anything similar to that in the COG that I belonged to previously. And so I had asked them after we got title to this property to take a look at it to see if it was anything that would be available for their program, which basically what they do is, if I understand the program correctly, and we can have Carla correct me if I'm wrong, is basically what the city does is we turn the property over to Region 12, they go in and they completely gut rehab, bring it up to code, and then they go and they resell the property. So we did have Region 12 come and take a look at it. I had not had eyes on the interior of the property until Region 12 came. It's a mess. We'll see what Carla's opinion is. She didn't just flat out tell us no. But at the end of the day, if they don't want to take it on for rehab, I guess the council's options would be either, we demolish it and then we try and, sell the lot as an in-lot, or what the I guess open to discussion whatever the council would want to do with it, ideas. I mean, we definitely need housing, in Lakeview. I hate to see this lot just go and be a vacant lot.
Well, back in on May 15th? May 15th, we had a gentleman that came to the council that had, his family owned part of this, and, we told him once we got a clear title, we would be taking proposals for it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that deal fell through? Do they not want that now?
No, I mean, we can pursue that. I was thinking that the only reason I requested that Region 12 take a look at it, because they have this program, they have the means to rehab it if they want, and turn it into a piece of housing stock that we need here in town. Just to see, wouldn't cost, Carla may ask us for a little bit of an investment on it if they would decide that, instead of us demolishing it, or that kind of thing. If, this is what I would say, if Region 12 doesn't want it, it needs to be demolished. There's just, if two,
I don't disagree
and
with
that doesn't mean that we can't, we have money into the property retaining, the tax, trying to get everything taken care of with the attorney fees and everything.
But we have clear title.
We have clear title according to Dave, and I've asked him a couple different times on it. We do have clear title on it. Yeah, I mean, we can ask for proposals. I think we need to put some specific stipulations into those proposals on definite timelines of one, either, demolishing the property and then moving forward with, putting something there that gets us back into a piece of housing stock that's on the tax rolls. That's my recommendation to the council for, something. I don't want it to sit as a vacant lot, and I don't necessarily think that we should, have somebody just put a garage on the property. I think that lot is too valuable for an infill lot of some type that we need to, definitely do something that brings us up.
With us having ownership, when we take proposals, we can put that in with the proposal. That
Yes.
it has to be not a garage,
Right.
a residential property.
Within a certain time.
Yeah,
you got a
Right.
time
Yep.
frame.
Yeah, and we can take proposals on that, even if it is has to be demolished. I
Right.
don't know, I haven't been in it.
It, yeah, it's
I know when
pretty
that
sad.
gentleman was here, he was talking about refrigerators full of food yet, I don't know if they're still here.
I have pictures. If you wanna see
I
them,
do
I'll
not.
show them to you. It's
But
in a state that
I would
is,
like to see us be able to look at that option as putting it up, because we do have some investor people that are in our community.
right. I went out because, like I said, I asked because the Region 12 had this program, and I've seen what they've been able to turn some of these really dilapidated type properties into. And so I wanted to see what they would say, and then, the council can certainly make a decision of what they would like to see going forward.
Have you heard any more from the gentleman that was here? John?
Not since the last time I saw him here.
Right.
He wanted a garage, and I don't think anybody's interested in a
No.
garage.
I thought he was gonna make the house a livable house.
You need to make the house.
He said at that meeting, he was gonna restructure it and make it a livable house.
We
Rehabil-
have
his words were
other people
rehabil-
come in and
Oh, other people, yeah.
be interested in it also. We've had multiple people come in interested in it.
We don't need more empty lots and garages.
No, but if we put the fact of in the development agreement, it has to be a residential house of so many square foot.
In a reasonable timeframe.
Right.
Go ahead, Vicki.
I just wondered if you've involved or if you intend to involve the housing committee in this discussion.
Certainly
They
you
have
can.
been as far as
They have been,
earlier, I mean, it's been a
It's
while.
been a while.
I just figured, you know, we'd have them and.
Right.
use them.
If they do all the legwork, that's what
Yeah.
good for us.
They can come up with some options too.
Yeah. As long as we're all okay, we don't want an empty lot, we don't want a garage.
Correct.
We want a home,
Yeah.
and not a promise of a home, but when it gets built.
We can do that like we did on the other development deal that didn't.
Didn't have one.
Right.
Yep. We learn from our past.
Well, she's texting me that she was logging in. We'll see if we can give her a minute or two and see. Sometimes it's going slow.
A minute, I want to address the question on this zoning thing again one more time.
Go ahead,
The big picture is, to me, the building inspector, on a yearly basis, there'll be between 5 and 10 permits denied because of this new wording in there, which is gonna affect the tax base of Lakeview. Everybody knows that lakefront property has the biggest tax rate there is. And that, on a small scale, I know that Teresa said when this was voted 2-2, it died. That needs to be revisited. This is just an injustice to this Chris Wall, the way this was ended up.
But let me clarify you. A non-conforming space can be added onto. You just you cannot add on to the non-conforming. That's what planning and zoning decided at that meeting. I was at that meeting, I think you were at that meeting. Because, and I explained it to you, if somebody has a garage in this corner of their property, that's on the property line, the way you wanna go back to, they can add on all the way on both sides of their property line. All the way, on the property line. That's what planning and zoning does not want. And that is why that line's put in there. It's you cannot add on to a non-conforming structure. You cannot make the non-conforming any bigger. That's what it was clarified for.
And that clarification, ended any interpretation of that rule. To me, it's not enlarging anything, it's adding more square footage, but you're not going past your existing non-conforming
That is
on
why
any corner of the house.
that is why we brought the planning and zoning back in for clarification, because that is the way they intended. You can, if your house is on the property line or does not meet the setbacks, let's just say it does not meet the current 4-foot setbacks, and it's, let's say it's 2 foot, they don't want you adding on 20 more feet, 2 foot from the property line. They want you to go 4 foot and then go back. That is how it was read, that is how it was interpreted, that is how the planning and zoning wants it when they did it. It's not to be able to go, I'm 2 foot, now I can add on and stay 2 foot. You can add on, but you gotta be 4 foot if your setbacks are 4 foot. And if we're gonna put it on the agenda, we will bring in the planning and zoning so they can explain it, because Gary Wicker and that group was very clear. I think, Mary, you were at that meeting.
Yeah.
And that's how it was explained. So if you go back to what what you're talking about, Eric, if I own a garage in this corner of my lot, now I can add on, and it's, let's just say it's a foot from the property line. I can add on all the way on the property line this way, and all the way on the property line this way. And then let's say my house is over here a foot from the property line. Now I can add on all the way this way and all the way that way. I don't think the city of Lakeview would want that in our neighborhoods, whether it's on the lake or not on the lake.
The
You have-
4 foot, the reasoning was really came down to safety, having the 4 foot setback from the neighbor's house. So
Correct.
if they were less than the 4 foot, and then they wanted to continue to add on, and keep expanding that area that lacked the 4 foot, that it was a safety concern for, fire and EMS.
And a prime example is on
that
the
was
east
the
side of
why
the lake
behind
right
it.
now. Then 5 or 6 houses to the north of Paul and Jane Alish's. Them 2 houses are not 18 inches apart.
Okay, well,
and they added on.
But that's why you have a variance adjustment board, and I too feel that they maybe were not clear about things, because the 4-foot thing isn't coming to rule in this.
Carla.
Yes, it
at
is.
Okay, I got
Yes,
you
it
on
is.
speaker, they're talking.
The 4-foot
but we'll
rule
get you
is
here
coming
just
into
a
play in
sec,
this.
okay?
but not
Not-
with a residential neighbor. It's on the street side that doesn't conform. It
Right.
does not. it
Well,
does not-
it's still a setback, it's still not
It's
meeting the
still a
setback.
setback, which is.
Correct.
Exactly true, but.
But it isn't with the 4-foot with the neighbor.
It's not,
No,
but it is with the
either
street
neighbor,
side.
It's not encroaching on either neighbor's.
And then the other thing
forward
that,
setback.
the
But
other
that's
thing,
what the variance board does, is they look at to see if there's a hardship on each case. It isn't that just
Correct.
because you approve this, you're gonna approve all of them. And I don't think that ever should have come to a board when you had a 2-2.
it came
That
to
was
the
a
council voted,
disservice to those
the
people.
council voted 5-0 to not approve that building permit. Prior to it going to the board. 5-0 vote,
I'm
so
just
then it
saying.
went to the variance board.
But the variance board doesn't necessarily report to the council.
Okay, so we have,
Back to Region 20.
we have Carla, and we'll try and speak as loud as possible, if you can kind of talk loud, I got you on my cell phone here, Carla. Can you just kind of, go over what your guys' thoughts are on the property?
Yes, first off, thank you for, zooming me in and calling, so I really appreciate that. Is everybody able to hear me okay?
Sort of. Here, you want to put it by your microphone?
Okay. Is this a little better by the microphone?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
I can hear her.
You can, okay.
Okay. As you know, Region 12 was awarded funds to do acquisition rehab of houses throughout our service area. What this all entails is that we work with our local cities to find properties that need to be put back into the available housing stock without having to build new. The grant gives us approximately $120,000 to $125,000 to work with to get that rehab done and bring it up to Iowa minimum standards for properties, which we want to see them blending in with the rest of the neighborhood instead of looking like the sore thumb, as well as alleviating any environmental issues. We did look at your property there at 203 Mountain Street, as you know, and it was kind of a little hard to tell what we were getting into because of the amount of debris in the house and things. The house is in a great location. It's on a great street. It really would be nice to bring it back to life as opposed to demo it, which then someone's gonna have to build another littler house on kind of an infill lot, or you're just selling it to the neighbor and you don't get your tax base back out of it. So I'm kind of curious on what steps would the city have to go through to do the demo? And if some of those items would be able to allow us to answer the questions that we would need to know. Two of the biggies that I have is, how far does that mold go? Is it just on the drywall that I could have someone come in and rip the drywall off and I'm gone? That's kind of a biggie. And then we would also be able to have clear access to see at the size of the house and the money that we have in the budget. I feel like if I have to replace a couple of trusses up there from water damage, that I can. If I have to replace a couple of floor joists, I can. If I gotta replace every single one of them, it's gonna get a little unfeasible. So I was kind of wondering, will the city, will you have to get some of that inside cleaned up and taken out of there so that you can have an asbestos test before you could consider demoing the house? Are these costs you would have anyway?
My experience, I guess, with the amount of debris in there, I honestly don't know. I know in my experience on demoing 2 other properties in Holstein, they were able to do the asbestos test without having the debris removed, and then the debris was just taken when the house was demoed.
Okay. And who do you typically use for your asbestos testing?
The gentleman that I'm familiar with I think he's out of Jefferson.
August Enterprises?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that because he can also do mold testing.
Okay.
So it seems like before anybody can do anything, we need to know what asbestos is there and what he is gonna say.
Okay,
Because if there's some costs that you're gonna have to incur anyway, just to get rid of the house, but those are the costs that allow me to know that I can get in there and rehab it, it seems like it might be a good partnership, and maybe we should try to save this house.
the council I know is looking at a couple of different options because there are some other parties here, I guess in Lakeview, that are interested in this property, so I think that they are looking at a couple of different options about maybe even taking some proposals. You know, my thought process was coming to you was the extensiveness of the condition of the property, for just regular Joe Schmo, for a person to empty out all the debris and to rehab this might be a little bit beyond what they wanted to undertake, that's why I started with you.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
you know, the council certainly is the one to make the final decision on how they would like to see this property brought forward, and what they would like to do, so, does the council have any questions?
I just wanna make sure I'm understanding her clearly. She would be interested, after an asbestos test and mold test, they would be interested in taking this project on with the grant money?
Possibly, yes.
Is that what-
Right?
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, I'm just trying to make sure that I don't get a property that has all the floor joists that need replaced and mold is clear through all the wood and everything where it's an environmental hazard and really does need to be demoed. That's the only thing I'm really trying to see, where that stands.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, 100%.
Well, and we can call August Enterprises and have him, if he won't even, I mean, he may not, with the amount of debris in it, I don't know if he can get the proper testing done or not. I honestly, I don't know. So,
And I am trying to reach out, we have another city, the city of Sheridan is doing a lot of acquisition demos. And they're using Coster Grains out of Carroll to do demo and really literally come into a hoarder's house. And I saw one of them before they came in. It was pretty close to that. And they took all of the debris out and everything, and it's now a cleaned house that we're gonna go take another second look at, and that cost them about $4,500. So I'm really curious to see what this company could do for, you know, that's a pretty good demo cost.
right, just to, but what, that was just to remove the debris though, right? Before demo, or was it full?
Move the debris and get the drywall out, and now we're working with them to see if we can go in and rehab it before they demo it.
Okay.
But I think you should start with August Enterprises, because if
Okay.
he can't run his tests without some of the debris removed,
Then we'll
then
go
you
from
know
there.
your next step as a city.
Okay,
Kind of baby step it here and see what we find out, but we are definitely interested in the property. We just would like to be able to inspect it well enough to know what we're dealing with on the mold and the floor joists and the trusses, which I would assume would be good forthright information you would want to give to anybody that would want to give a proposal on that property and a good faith estimate.
okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Carla before?
Did you ever find out that if you order, you know, the smell, is that a problem usually with these retail?
Typically, you take enough of that drywall out and you can get the smell out too.
Typically.
Yeah, typically. Typically, I don't have a large repertoire for that, so that would be, the risk that Region 12 would take on.
Okay.
But our first step is the asbestos stuff first.
I think so, because in order to demo it, you have to have it tested for asbestos.
Right.
And if he can't do his proper testing to see if it's clear of asbestos with all the junk in, then you're gonna have to do some removal. But we can assist you with hopefully finding some really good prices for that, if he even needs to do it. We don't know till he comes to look. You might send him a few pictures and get his
Okay,
gut reaction.
Sounds like we'll start there.
Yes, and we are hoping that we'll get some good news and would like to, if council would consider using the property for this program, we'd love to talk more about it.
We'll plan on that. Thanks, Carla.
What would their time frame be, once they got possession of the property.
What's a time frame is being asked, Carla, once you got possession of the property?
Once we got possession of the property, it usually takes us a little bit of time to write up a complete scope of work, since we do have to send this out to public bid. We usually break it down into packages so that we have more flexibility, like a mechanical, electrical, a general construction. In Coon Rapids, we did a flooring, because they have a great flooring contractor that is 4 blocks away, so we wanted to give them an opportunity to be able to bid on the work without having to look at a large-scale project. And then we put it out for bid, accept quotes, and get them in there.
18 months, 12 months?
I have to be done by the end of next year with everything, so that gives you the worst-case scenario.
That's still pretty fast,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for what it looks like.
So we need to get some more protection on that house if there's still open holes too, so the quicker if we think it's savable, any further damage can get done would be great.
Okay, we'll start with the asbestos.
Keep me informed, we're very interested, and thank you for, having me up to your council meeting.
Thanks, Carla.
All right, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I would like to make a motion that we start with that asbestos mold testing, we're gonna need that for anybody. And then move forward, once we get the results back, we can move forward with what we wanna do for
Do
proposals.
we need to have this asbestos and that taken, tested? Or can we set it out for proposals to the community and let them take care of it, you know, like the Smith family, or if they're interested in it as is, to
Yeah,
rehab it?
I mean, that would be, if you wanted to take proposals, it just, you know, how long I can contact, the August Enterprises guy and probably have him up here within a week. And then he can at least tell me if there's too much debris, or I can send him pictures. Or if the city's gonna do anything with it, we have to have the asbestos testing done.
Even
If
to
we're gonna-
sell it?
Not to sell it.
Okay, because Kay said she had a couple people interested, if the family's interested, you know, there's 3 right there locally without sourcing it out to somebody from Carroll or Coon Rapids or wherever be it. I mean,
So is what you're saying is we could just move forward without the testing if we have local people, not,
yeah, why do
and
we
not
wanna
invest
spend the
that?
money on the asbestos testing and,
What does that cost?
When I did it up in Holstein, I think I had 3 projects asbestos tested and cost me maybe, for 3 different places, some was more expensive than others. This would probably be, for his travel time and everything, you're talking probably around $1,000.
So if we went, put the thing out to bid, how long is that gonna take? And then I'm gonna assume, outside the guy that was here, the others haven't taken a look at the property, you know?
I mean, she's looking at, when she told me, even with the scope to rehab it, I mean, they're looking at the upper side of their budget, and that would be $125,000. So, you know, to get it back into a condition where it's,
Livable,
right,
respectable.
yeah.
And if you want a house on there, you know, when you take your proposals, you're gonna have to say that, you gotta put a house back on it, not
Absolutely,
just,
we want a residential
Yeah.
property.
yeah.
yeah.
We can put out proposals and say you got 20 days to get back to us.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that, you know, if you're gonna do something, if somebody wants to rehab it, there's things that need to be done to protect what's there now, because I know that there's holes in the roof, I know it's, you know, the day we were there, it was raining, and it was, there was bowls in various places amongst the debris that you could tell that were being tried to hold the water for the
Can we, I'm just asking this question, or everybody's opinion, or however I wanna say it. Can we move forward with the mold and asbestos testing, and then have that in our proposal that the city is getting this testing done for the other outside people, as well as Region 12, and that way we can, if we have nobody else that has the interest in it, then we got the Region 12 that can do it, and they're on a time frame, if they wanna have it done by next fall, or they have to have it done by the end of next year, we're really cutting time short.
Right.
I mean, yes, we're investing another $1,000 or $1,200, but does that make sense that, and we're adding that to, that value to ABC individual that might wanna go in and rehab it? And then put in there, it has to be a residential property within so many timeframe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can do it a number of different ways. You could even, if you wanted to, you could make it part of the deal that it gets knocked down, they pay for the knockdown, and then, you know, give them
They have to rebuild.
rebuild whatever, then we wouldn't really have no more money other than,
Right. We might be able to recoup our money, the $1,000 plus whatever else we've got spent on the tax.
Well, eventually you're gonna recoup that
Yeah,
money
on the tax.
if
Correct.
if something goes back on the tax rolls, you're gonna be able to recoup the property taxes
Right.
back.
We might have somebody offer $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for that piece of property. Might, you don't know. I haven't been in it, but you know.
Just your picture.
Oh
my gosh.
Meeting I do.
What my concern is, if you have this asbestos testing done, and it's on record, you're gonna have to take care of the asbestos if you do demolish it. Whereas if you sell it.
We will, definitely.
But if you sell it to John Doe without an asbestos test done, and they decide to demolish it and build a brand new home, they might
They aren't
forego
required to.
the asbestos route like you're supposed to do.
But residents aren't held to the same quality of asbestos as.
No, they wouldn't, they wouldn't, if they were gonna demolish it, they wouldn't be required to take the proper steps. If there was asbestos in the property, they wouldn't be required to take the steps that we are required to take
But if you're
in
gonna sell,
demolishing the property.
if you're gonna sell it outright, you just wanna make sure that you have an agreement, because it's hard to sell something outright without a proposal. Because then they bought the property, are you gonna have that mess? Is it gonna take 2 years? I mean, you gotta be careful.
Have a
That's
base for
that's why I like Region 12, because I'm very confident that they've done this before, and I like the time frame, and we don't have to go through the other hassles of having the attorney draw up a proposal when we sell it to some individual, we'd have to have Dave draw
I agree by the development agreement.
development agreement. That's-
Even if there's any asbestos, at least we could recoup it on a proposal, you gotta pay us back for that.
But I do know that we told one individual,
Right.
and I don't know if they have an interest anymore, I have no idea. But we did tell them at a meeting, and I haven't heard from them since.
On the May 15th,
Yeah.
that we would accept a proposal, you know, once we got in possession of the property.
And it was a 90-day time frame back then, if I remember right, and then, of course, we've had so many other things change.
Well, we just finally got clear title to this 3 weeks ago, 4
Okay,
weeks
so-
ago, cause I mean, it's not been very long when we finally got the deed, and I contacted Region 12 pretty quickly about them coming to take a look at it, so.
So what's the next step for the council?
Well, I think we should go ahead and get the asbestos and the mold done, and, you know, if we hear of anybody else that wants to take a look at it, they can look at it too, I don't care.
I mean, I guess we can open it up for proposals if you want
I think
to.
we really need to move forward with this piece, just in case we don't get into other proposals, so we get the ball rolling on the thing.
That was my thing, my thought process too, but I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, so do I, but.
Because we have a motion and a second to proceed with this.
Yeah, Dale had a motion to pursue the asbestos and mold, so Dave, then are you seconding? Okay.
I just want everybody to talk
You know,
about what we do.
foundation's good, and your structure's 90% decent, it's rehabable. I mean,
It's pretty squishy, but, I mean, the floors are.
yeah. And if you start replacing floor joists, you got.
Is there a
You
basement
got-
in that house?
Yes.
But nobody went.
Yeah.
We are not going down in that basement. Sorry.
Maybe once the debris is out, you couldn't get to the basement when we were there.
I just think if we move forward with the asbestos and mold thing, and then whoever else is interested, they'll know going forward it's there, not there, they can, even though they know it might be there, Mike, they can still go around the other way if they want to, that's not our responsibility. We told them it's clear or it's not, And then we'll keep moving forward with Region 12, and we can keep moving forward with any private developer as well, and come up with a development agreement, we could put something out.
And
To repay us for that.
I mean, one of the comments was the guys that came to look at it, they were really curious whether there would be asbestos or not, just because of the age of the property wasn't, seemed that there would be unless there's some ductwork and stuff, because on the two properties that I had in Holstein, the only asbestos that they found was, you know, in tape that was in the ductwork and stuff, so it wasn't, they didn't think that the siding had asbestos in it and different things, so, but, I mean, who knows, we'll, you know, see what we find.
So in that motion thing, say, add on to that motion.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion, move forward with the mold and asbestos testing, and then move forward with publicizing, proposals for private developers, but it must say, we want their development, we want their proposal, but it's gonna have to be a residential resident when it's done, in a time frame of 18 months, something like that. And we can, if they have a different idea in their time frame, they can present that to us, and we can decide at that time, and then we can have Dave draw up the official paperwork, if somebody comes forward with that. We don't know if anybody will.
Right.
Kay, did you get most of that?
Yeah, he wants the motion to move forward with the asbestos and mold testing. And then the second part of that was to get proposal ready for development with a residential house with an 18-month time frame.
I'll second that.
Well, there's
Dave
already
already
first
did.
and second on there.
Roll call.
Yep. So, Beckman,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Steinkamp,
Yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Wait, Mayor,
Oh.
there's one more thing. When she talked about, the roof,
Oh, we got
Protecting what we have.
protecting what we have, Jason had, I mean,
Do you have any, you've seen it, do you have any ideas what we should do? I mean, is it feasible to go put some tarps up on there?
I'm not putting the guys on the roof, we'll have to use the bucket truck.
Right.
I do not feel any portion of that roof is safe for my guys to walk on it, but I'm sure we can come up with, we will look at it and see what we can come up with to put tarps or something on that roof to protect it, if that's what the council adjourns me to do.
Again,
What we got?
it's an as-is deal, whether it goes to anyone, the Region 12 or whatever.
Right, if Region 12 was gonna acquire it, they would probably do something, you know, or seek something out to put a little bit of
cause
protection
that was
on
her
it, but-
comment though, right? Was
Right,
something needs to be done to
Yes.
try and preserve
Yeah.
it the way it is right now
So
and not let it get
I
worse.
think we should try and preserve it with some tarps or something, if you can do it with the bucket truck. It is our property.
Safely,
Right.
safely.
Safely, correct, safely.
I will not put the guys in jeopardy.
right, no,
Right,
and I'm
we
not
don't,
asking
and we
you
don't want
to.
you to.
I mean, yeah, I think we can get something strapped down on there without,
We will work on that. I will have something either put on there by the end of the week, or we will have devise a plan, or I will inform you at next council meeting that it's completely unsafe
because
for
I
us.
don't think we're supposed to have any rain or snow or anything in the next, and I said the S word, for
How
at
dare
least a
you.
couple of weeks.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody, for
Tammy,
coming.
feel better.
Tammy, big up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get better.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Yep, so, if I